Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I am your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Dragon Suplex Podcasting Network and the Main Event Marks YouTube channel. We have a great week that was in pro wrestling. We had a great week that's coming up in pro wrestling. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to be talking about AEW, NWA, and GCW in this snowy Sunday afternoon in Greensboro, North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina. It's snowing all over. I'm getting reports from my family in Greensboro. I'm getting reports from my friends in Asheville. And unlike North Carolina, it's snowy everywhere. It's cold everywhere. The snow is turning to freezing rain. But I had a good night last night. I saw my friends in Neck Scars. They're touring the Southeast. They're from New York, so they're used to the snow. They don't mind it. They're worried about us worrying and whether people are going to come to their shows. But the show is packed. I went to this place called Derby's in Durham, North Carolina last night. Really cool venue. You got to go upstairs in this downtown location. If you're ever in Durham, Motorco and Derby's, two cool venues to check out. I managed to squeeze in a good time last night, but I'm still doing the 75 hard. I'm 16 days in right now, doing 90 minutes of working out a day, drinking a gallon of water, 10 pages of a book. I'm reading Dave Grohl's autobiography. If you're reading that book, let me know in the comments. It's a great book. I'm enjoying it. I'm right at the kind of part where Nirvana splits up. Very intriguing. But the 75 hard is a lot easier than I thought. I'm also not drinking or smoking this whole time. I thought that would be an issue with me, but if you fill the not drinking and smoking thing in with all these good and positive habits like reading and exercising, you're so tired by the end of it that you want to lay down. You want to just maybe watch some wrestling and pass out, which is what I'm doing. But it was a great week in wrestling. As I mentioned earlier, shout out to Alpha Academy for winning the Raw Tag titles over Riddle and Randy Orton. Hopefully now there'll be some tension between Riddle and Randy Orton in the Royal Rumble match. Hopefully that leads into a Mania match. Simple booking, but it would be fun to see. And simple is good sometimes. Wrestling fans always like to be in the know or act like they're in the know, and kind of pulling us slowly along here, allowing every fan to feel like they know what's going to happen and then be rewarded with ultimately a good match is a good way to do it. Psychological wise, and I think Matt Riddle and Randy Orton are going to have an excellent match at WrestleMania if that's how they choose to do it. I've heard tons of WrestleMania rumors. I'm getting really excited about the Royal Rumble coming up. We're going to be talking about that in a few weeks. But let's talk about AEW and the week that was in AEW television. I have to say, AEW is in a bit of a slump the past few weeks. Ever since I went and saw it on the 22nd of December, I kind of felt like they kind of dropped the ball a little bit. Like Battle of the Belts had one good match out of 3 or 4. The Dynamite in New Jersey had one good match out of about 5 or 6. And this one in Raleigh, I didn't end up going to. I got to save my money after the Christmas season and everything. And plus, I'm doing that 75 hard thing. Had to squeeze that in. But it looked like it was a low attendance. I don't know if it's Omicron or just wringing this market dry. Because like I said, I went and saw them in Greensboro December 22nd. They did Battle of the Belts in Charlotte in between then, I think January 8th. And then here they are January 12th in Raleigh. These places are 2 hours apart. It's not like the Northeast where there's, about like something like 1/3 or 1/4 of the country all lives in this one area where you can go to New Jersey, Long Island, Connecticut, and it all feels like a different place. This is generally the same people that would be going to, show to show. So I really think they wrung this market dry, and you can hear it in this week's Dynamite and Rampage. It's the crowd that is there is enjoying it, but you can just hear that it wasn't that big of a crowd. And then you can visually see that they got the lights turned out whenever the match is on. It's not just for aesthetics. That was to cover up the crowd just not being there. But what can you do? I hope they come back. Maybe if they come back and just do the Greensboro location, the historic Greensboro Coliseum, where all the Starcades were, is where I went, and I think that would attract people from Charlotte, people from Raleigh, people even from Virginia and Winston-Salem and all over would come to the Greensboro Coliseum, just like they used to do for Starrcade. But getting into the body of Dynamite, Britt Baker comes out with the Super Elite. I guess that makes this faction Super Elite DMD or something like that. It was okay. I mean, Adam Cole and Britt Baker been dating, and they might even be married for a while. I'm not sure. The Bucks go in to kiss Adam Cole as usual. The thing that was over in 2015 that they still are doing, that no one really understands why. I think it's beyond go away heat. It's just boredom heat, mid, as MJF would say. But I popped when she stopped them to kiss him herself. Just a little difference there. Popped the crowd. I thought it was okay. It was pretty good. The Cassidy Cole storyline is kind of getting drug on a little too long. And it looks like we're getting more of it with this mixed tag we're going to get next week on Dynamite with Cassidy, Statlander versus Britt and Cole. And then they puzzlingly put Statlander in another storyline with Layla Hirsch. So Statlander has found herself in two storylines after months of not really doing anything at all. Kingston and Jericho kind of heating up, but just like the Cole Cassidy, I feel like I don't know really where this is going. Turn up the heat a little bit on this heat. They both are fighting the same faction, but they don't like each other, even though members of Jericho's faction like Kingston. It seems like just my enemy of my enemy is my friends, and my friend of my friends is okay with me here. But somehow they don't like each other. I kind of forgot why they don't like each other, and I'm a little confused. So help me out in the comments below. Hangman Page promo in the Carolinas. You gotta love that. He's from Virginia, lived in Greensboro for a little bit, and cut his teeth up and down the Carolinas. Interrupted by Dan Lambert. I usually like Dan Lambert's promo, but saying that he's not the real cowboy thing was, maybe I heard that opinion a little bit too much from Jim Cornette, but I really wasn't into it. I did like Lance Archer coming back, making his return, and then the reasoning that Lambert got out of getting his ass beat was saying, hey, you're next to the champion, attack the champion. And even though Archer doesn't like Dan Lambert, he was like, you know what, that's a great idea. Attacked him. And Archer versus Hangman, I like the sound of that. That's going to be a good match. These two guys, even though they weren't, they were in other places before they were in New Japan, I really feel like they kind of solidified themselves as amazing wrestlers in New Japan exclusively, or not exclusively, but primarily in the G1. Archer had that great 2019 G1. Hangman had the good 2018 G1. So this match is going to be pretty good, and I bet it's going to be hard hitting. I really do think that AEW dropped the ball on Arn and Tully. They had, a little bit of friction there with FTR, Brock, and Shotty Lee Johnson in the back, but they didn't have Arn and Tully out there for the main crowd to hear that pop. And then they booked a match where they would be, at odds in front of the crowd for another place other than North Carolina, outside of Horseman Country. I really do think they dropped the ball on that. They could have even promoted that in Raleigh, and I bet they would have gotten a few more butts in those seats. Black comes out, kicks Alex Abrahante's head off. Always awesome to see. After the Pentagon Matt Hardy match, Varsity Blondes come out, and they start whipping Black's ass. Julia Hart tells them to stop, which I thought was good. Julia Hart still has the eye after getting misted in that, still has the eye patch after getting misted in the eye from Aleister Black. So I think maybe she's going to slowly start joining his side. And then to save Aleister Black, after he kind of cackles, Brody King shows up when the lights come on. This massive man, tattooed, hits these cannonballs like Kevin Owens to everybody. Great debut, in my opinion. The crowd was chanting his name before he showed up. They knew what was happening. Just like I mentioned with Riddle and Randy, sometimes it's good that the crowd knows what's happening because then it adds effect. People like to feel like they know what's going on, so kind of lead them on to where they know what's going on, but that if you deliver something they actually want to see, something good, like a Brody King coming out or Riddle and Randy, great match at WrestleMania, they don't feel insulted. It's like they know what's going on, but they're not bored of knowing what's going on. And then I check online and people are saying, oh, I don't know who Brody King is. This is just another guy that I don't know that they're making a big deal of in AEW. You don't have to know who Brody King is to be impacted by his debut. He's a giant man covered in tattoos, beating people's asses. It's not like when Kyle O'Reilly showed up where you're like, who is this skinny guy with a buzz cut and a t-shirt? You kind of have to know who Kyle O'Reilly is for that to be a big deal. But Brody King, I mean, shit, Brody King could be ordering from Dunkin' Donuts, and I would give him a little bit of space. I would make sure that his coffee was the temperature he liked it, because I think all hell would break loose if they fucked up that Dunkin' Donuts order. He's a massive man. He has an opposing presence. So I really do feel like those critiques online were misplaced here, and understood in some cases with AEW debuts, but not in this debut. Going into Rampage, Pac video package, always good. Pac is, one of the most underrated wrestlers in the world. Shawn Spears has a good promo, heating him up for his match with CM Punk. The Acclaim diss track was hilarious. The Acclaim versus Sting and Darby Allin feud is my favorite. I mean, you don't really need to fuck up a Sting storyline here, but they're really kind of giving them some heat that we haven't seen in a long time with a Sting storyline. Two grown men going through a goth phase was the hook of this diss track. If you haven't seen it, go out of your way. It's hilarious. Any comedy fan or any hip hop fan would love it. Breaking down the matches this week from worst to first, like we always do on Curtain Jerkin. 10 out of 10. Shawn Spears versus Andrew Everett. Liked seeing Andrew Everett in the AEW ring, a staple here in the Carolinas Indies. But C4, 1, 2, 3, Spears gets the victory. That's why it sits at number 10. Number 9, Deeb versus Hikaru Shida. Deeb just beats the hell out of her with a kendo stick. Shida not wanting to tap out, but ref calls for the bell. It sits at number 9 out of 10. Number 8 out of 10, I was a little disappointed about Matt Hardy getting his pop in Raleigh, North Carolina versus Pentagon. Dueling chants here in the Carolinas. I was surprised by that. I thought it was going to be 100% Hardy crowd, but there was Pentagon masks on the front row. They were doing the Zero Miro. They were doing it all. Side effect on the apron. Hardy goes for a moonsault, misses, leads to a package pile driver from Pentagon. It's number 8 out of 10. Number 7 out of 10, which 8 and 7 are kind of interchangeable here. The ladies Rampage trio match. Hirsch, Velvet, Statlander versus Bunny, Ford, and Rose. Hirsch tags herself in. Velvet tags herself in. One team was at odds. One team was on the same page. Bunny, Ford, Nyla get the victory. Hirsch pissed at Statlander after the match. So that's the second feud that Statlander just finds herself in after not doing much of anything for a while on TV. I don't know, Hirsch is a great wrestler, and Statlander is that powerhouse too. I'm much more interested in this feud than kind of just this forced pulling her in to the Cassidy Cole storyline. I get it. Backstage, it's kind of cool because Cole and Britt Baker date, and I think Orange Cassidy and Statlander date, if I'm not mistaken. I think I heard that on the Cole Cabana podcast, to be honest with you. But I mean, I'm just not as into it as I would be just a good match on a wrestling show, not knowing who's dating who on a wrestling show. Number 6 out of 10, Dante Martin versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Hobbs attacks him before the bell. Big spine buster. Starks get involved. Lethal comes out of hiding for this match. Stops Starks, distracting Hobbs. Springboard moonsault. 1, 2, 3. Dante steals one. But this was right after Punk kind of stole one, because of a similar situation. So I didn't really like those two endings being back to back. I heard another podcast, I think it was Keep It 100 with Conan and Disco Inferno, make the same point. But I would agree, there was just an odd, it just felt like deja vu. And speaking of Punk versus Wardlow, number 5 out of 10, just right there in the middle of the pack, a CM Punk match. It was open Dynamite. Punk stays away from Warlow for a time, but gets caught several powerbomb symphony. The crowd kind of got behind Warlow a little bit doing the powerbomb symphony, and if a crowd is even mildly cheering for CM Punk's opponent, I think that tells you that he's getting over here. But in this melee, Warlow goes to pin CM Punk, putting his foot just, while flexing. MJF said, no, I want him destroyed. Warlow puts CM Punk through a table. Warlow puts CM Punk through a table right in front of the referee. They did not call it. And then they get back in the ring. CM Punk rolls Wardlow up 1, 2, 3. MJF is pissed at Wardlow for losing the match to CM Punk, but why didn't they call for a DQ once he put him through the table? That would have made Wardlow look stronger, and you would have gotten the same outcome with MJF still being able to yell at Wardlow. I don't know what they were doing here. You could have, kept the continuity of putting someone through a table and using a weapon as a DQ, and kept the guy that you're ultimately trying to push a little more stronger by just going with the understood rules of a wrestling match. But that might be a little nitpicky. I did like the homage to Bret Hart and Diesel. That was kind of cool. Number 4 out of 10, Jurassic Express versus Dark Order, the main event of Rampage. Jurassic Express playing the hits here, popping the crowd. Reynolds and Silver, great tag team, a little underrated. Wild Tower of Doom spot, but a little bit of a sloppy double team move by Jurassic Express to get the victory. That's why Bear Country and the Acclaimed jumped it at the number 3 position. But it was a decent number 3 because 1 and 2 were kind of, I feel like, the only good matches out of the whole week of AEW television, which really, usually, there's about 4 or 5. So I think that the AEW company or roster is going through a bit of a COVID pandemic or epidemic in and of themselves, because it looks like a depleted roster. You're seeing a lot of people 2 or 3 times that you didn't see at all a few weeks ago, like Jay Lethal, like Chris Statlander. So if I had to put $5 on what I think is happening here, I think that's it. But nonetheless, it's not as good as it was a few weeks ago. They were firing on all cylinders, I think, in November and December. Coming into 2022, they're kind of misfiring a little bit. But nonetheless, number 2 out of 10, Cole versus Trent Beretta. This was a great match. Trent is underrated. Cole goes for a Panama Sunrise on the floor, but Trent turns it into a backdrop. Cole then goes for another Panama Sunrise in the ring, countered by a strong 0-1-2. Cole kicks out. All hell breaks loose. Trent gets caught with a boom knee. 1, 2, 3. Cole gets the victory. You gotta love it. Cole super over. I wonder how that song is doing on iTunes and on Apple Music, because people are singing along. People love it. People do the boom. It's a great song. I mean, I like the song more than I like Adam Cole, to be honest with you. Number 1, the main event of Dynamite. Garcia versus Sammy Guevara. Working snug, fast pace. I'm invested off the bat. Jericho and Kingston at ringside. Bitch slap exchange. Sammy hits a double springboard dive. Garcia hits a backdrop driver. 1, 2. Sammy kicks out. 2.0 shows up. Jump Kingston and Jericho. GTH by Sammy. 1, 2, 3. 2.0 tries to jump Sammy. Jericho and Kingston work together to maintain the advantage and get the revenge on 2.0 and Garcia for coming out. Are they friends? Are they not? Get to the bottom of this already. Have we even seen a match from these two already? Let's get this feud going. These are 2 stars, one that you kind of made on AEW, one that's a legend in wrestling business. You're having this depleted roster. Get to the meat already. I'm tired of just watching this heat sizzle. So as I said, I'm not enjoying AEW as much as I usually do. I do still enjoy AEW. I still like it so much. I'm still going to watch every single week. It's still some of my favorite wrestling I've ever seen. But I was out there looking for more wrestling, new wrestling. I'm kind of in a limbo this weekend. Next week we got the GCW Hammerstein Ballroom show. The week after that we got Royal Rumble. But this weekend, not much going on. So I decided to watch the first 2 episodes of NWA USA, a 30-minute YouTube show that comes out Saturday mornings, and it's a good time. The first episode, cool start, reminding me of that first time I heard Into the Fire on NWA Power, their first episode. It's just a fun, kind of reminds me of Saved by the Bell. The whole kind of theme of the show and all the graphics kind of reminded me of Saved by the Bell, which is fitting because Saved by the Bell got popular on Saturday mornings. There's also WWF Superstars that I enjoyed on Saturday mornings. So this whole thing is just giving me Saturday morning kid to teenager nostalgia here. George South promo, he was around before I was even born, so I don't get much nostalgia out of him, but I do enjoy him. He's always good. AEW hiring all these old guys, they need to give him a hire, or maybe even give him a match on Dark with Sonny Kiss or something. I would enjoy that. But he can't get a hold of his friend Colby Corino. Colby Corino kind of shifted personalities a little bit here, joining with the Fixers. Tim Storm announced that as the managing director, the Fixers are not at ringside. They're banned from ringside. The Fixers are a tag team. Jay Bradley and Wrecking Ball Legursky, two veterans of wrestling. Cool to see them getting a little shine here on NWA. They announced that there's an NWA Junior Heavyweight Title tournament. I love the theme and graphics here. Just like I said, Saved by the Bell for this tournament brackets, and just really good shit here. The tournament, super good shit. Aries, Rent Titus, Kerry Morton, Ariara Davari, Darius Lockhart, Homicide, just to name a few of these competitors. So it is stacked full of just interesting names from all over the place, and it was awesome. We did get a tournament match here. C.W. Anderson with George South versus Colby Corino without the Fixers. Super kick from C.W. spills the action to the floor. Colby chops a ring post. That visibly and audibly hurts his hand, but he keeps the advantage. Colby crush, 1, 2, no. Another pin, 1, 2, no. Colby with his feet on the ropes, 1, 2, 3. He gets the victory, and he moves on without the Fixers, but he did cheat, so he is still an asshole, reminding everybody that he's that. Natalie Markova, Twitter famous, makes her debut on NWA. First episode, NWA USA. Nick Aldis kills a promo like always. Chris Adonis promo, hard to follow Aldis, I'll just say that. And then we go into our main event of the evening. Luke versus PJ Hawks. Father versus son. Teacher versus student. Partner versus partner. Easy to get into this one. Big suplex from PJ. 1, 2. Luke kicks out. He goes up top for a crossbody. 1, 2. Luke kicks out again. Luke ends up rolling up his son. 1, 2, 3. Daddy steals one with a little bit of ring savviness. Show of respect there at the end. They hug. And that's just a 30-minute episode. Like, I remember I enjoyed 205 Live because it's an hour. I enjoy Rampage because it's an hour. New Japan Strong because it's an hour. But this is outdoing all of them with just a 30-minute episode right there on YouTube. You can watch whenever you want to. Perfect. Episode 2 was more of the same. Cool start. Homicide promo. Tim Storm out there with Kyle Davis again. Interrupted by BLKG's. I don't know too much about him, but I recognize him from watching a few CZW shows. I was a little lost here. Raven comes out of nowhere. He did not get the pop I think they were looking for, but then him and G's kind of were getting into it a little bit. Ariara Davari from 205 Live versus Jay Spade in the tournament. Davari going for the hair. Jay Spade taking exception to that, getting pissed. Missile dropkick off the top. 1, 2, Davari kicks out. Blue Thunder Bomb. 1, 2, Davari kicks out. Magic Carpet Ride from Davari, just like his brother used to do in ROH. I really enjoyed seeing that trick pulled out again. I knew he was going to go for it when he came out with the carpet rolled up under his arm in his entrance. 1, 2, 3. Davari moves on in the tournament. We get more Natalie Markova. She even pulls Mae Valentine's hair. That got my attention. I don't know. Ricky Morton promo with Kerry Morton promo. His delivery is good, not bad. I would say, better than average. George South and CW show up. A little bit of tension building there. PJ Hawks promo. Excited to see his dad advance, as we all are. I love seeing Luke Hawks. Anthony Mayweather, former Crimson, versus All Day Marche Roquette, I guess is his name. First time I'm seeing this guy wrestle, but apparently Austin Idol is helping him along. And then in front of the curtain, he's teaming with BLKGs, who was out there ringside again. And Anthony Mayweather had Mims out there seconding him. Latimer and Adonis show up as well. So there's 4 guys circling around the ringside. Mayweather can't keep All Day down. Ref kicks out Strictly Business, Latimer and Adonis. Both men down, ref counting. Power slam, 1-2, Mayweather kicks out. Mims and G's bickering on the outside. That kind of distracts Mayweather. And then he gets hit with a scissor kick, 1-2-3. All Day Marche wins. This was a heavyweight contest, so not for the tournament, but a fun main event to this fun show. Full show, fun show, only 30 minutes. I'm probably going to watch week to week. Just you kind of get your highlights of NWA Power. You find out when their big shows are, and you get 2 good matches that seemingly are centered around this NWA Junior title tournament, which has a lot of guys that I'm interested in. So you did a great job, Billy Corgan and company, in hooking me in this. I'm hooked. I love this shit. But like I said, we're in a bit of a limbo period this weekend, which I'm cool. Watching some NFL playoffs, sitting back. It's snowing. I don't have to work on Sunday. I usually have to work on Sunday. I usually have to work Monday morning. I found myself a 3-day weekend with very little wrestling to watch. It's like, where was this 3-day weekend when there was 3 days of Wrestle Kingdom? I don't know. But next week, we're going to have the biggest GCW show of all time. I'm pretty excited to watch it. 6 big matches announced, and we're going to break it all down. This is a big show here. Here are my predictions for this GCW show. First of all, I'm going to predict that there's going to be more matches in this. Only 6 matches announced. I'm betting there's going to be more like 8 or 9 matches. Of course, that GCW Scramble is going to probably be on here with like 6 or 7 guys. Hopefully Gringo Loco's in that scramble. I feel like he's like the king of these scrambles. Or no, I see him in the 6-man tag. He's in a 6-man tag. So I don't know who's going to be in this scramble. Maybe Nick Wayne. I'm not sure. And then also, let me just scan here again. I don't see Nick Gage on here. So obviously we're going to get a scramble and we're going to get a Nick Gage match. But out of the matches announced, we have Jon Moxley making his return, the GCW World Champion versus Homicide. Homicide in the NWA tournament, and here he is in this GCW Hammerstein Ballroom show. So that's going to be pretty fucking awesome. There's no way Homicide is taking the title off of Moxley. I'm just going to say it right there, so I'm picking Moxley. Also on this GCW Hammerstein Ballroom show, we have the Briscoes, who are not only the GCW Tag Team Champions, but the ROH Tag Team Champions versus TBA. And if this TBA is not FTR, I'm going to be pissed. They teased FTR at the last Ring of Honor show. They're not giving it to us on AEW. So if this TBA is anybody but FTR, I'm turning the damn thing off. I'm just joking. I'm not turning it off. But I'll be a little disappointed if it ends up being, some team that's over in GCW. Maybe 440 might be a little bit of a substitute from FTR. But if it ain't FTR, we riot. I'll just say that. And then we're getting an ROH World Championship match. Jonathan Gresham versus Blake Christian. Blake Christian recently released from WWE NXT, cut his teeth in GCW, so he's got a lot to prove, and he's a high flyer going up against the champion who's already proven himself, and he's a ground and pounder, Jonathan Gresham. So this is going to be a great match. This is going to be a show stealer, but there's no way Blake Christian's going to take that title off of him. I'm going Jonathan Gresham. Then we have Team Bandito, ASF, the tiny little heartthrob from Texas, Bandito and Laredo Kid, what a freaking team there, versus Team Gringo. You love seeing Team Gringo. Ares, Dominic Flamita, and Gringo Loco. This is going to be a lucha match for the ages. You have a lot of people that have been trained in CMLL. You got a lot of people that are making their way onto AAA. People that are, GCW staples. Laredo Kid always kills it. This is going to be an awesome match. So there's tons. This match is just stacked with show stealers at this point. But I think Team Gringo is going to get the victory because he's a GCW staple, and you kind of want to put over the brand of GCW while they're getting this big showcase. But I wouldn't really mind if either team won this one. Ruby Soho versus Alley Catch. I don't know. Alley Catch has that knife. I think that's hilarious that she whips a knife on people. I'm not really into her other than that. So I'm going to go with Ruby Soho so we can hear the song twice because the song is more over than both of them. Then we have Matt Cardona with Chelsea Green versus Joey Janella. Matt Cardona recently dropped the title, so he doesn't really have a title anymore. He's on NWA more and more. I feel like the story is told with Matt Cardona in GCW. And Joey Janella, who looks to be kind of exiting AEW. He hasn't been on AEW television in a long, long time. And his contract looks to be up in a few months. So you kind of want to re-solidify him in GCW. So I think these are ships in the night. And you want to put the brand over, like I was mentioning with Team Gringo. So I would go with Joey Janela outsmarting Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green. Maybe even that lady that Joey Janela has in AEW Dark matches from time to time, making her presence known, popping the crowd with their favorite, the guy who started Spring Break, who kind of started it all for GCW, winning this one. This is just getting me excited for this card. Go out of your way and watch NWA USA. Let me know what you think about AEW. Let me know what you think about Alpha Academy winning the Raw Tag Team titles. Just let me know what you think about wrestling, and I'm sure I'll talk to you about it. Fly high. I'm out.